Welcome back. We are heading into Game 3 of TSM versus Flyquest, and 1-1 now. Things aren't looking good for Flyquest if history repeats itself.
Yeah, I mean, the stats aren't in their favor, but today is a new day. Correlation, be damned. Honestly, though, out of that game, big takeaways were Bjergsen and Hanser. Some of the stats for Hanser, who did get the OP player of that game. 4.0 KDA there on the Camille, racking up a bunch of those kills early. And honestly, looking at the damage dealt to champions, Bjergsen was right there with him on Vladimir. Vladimir does have a tremendous impact as far as the team fights goes, and you get to AoE a lot more. But a lot of the kind of mid-game there and playing off that mid lane was due to Bjergsen as well. So shout outs to both of those solo laners. We'll see what happens because people expect TSM to be this top triangle style team where it's mid lane, top lane, and jungle, where they work off mostly to get a lot of their advantages. And it hasn't been super heavily punished. We'll see if Flyquest can actually craft something to attack that style, whether it's trying to really pressure the bottom lane and punish them for not giving assistance to the bottom side of the map, or placing safety nets in place there, like counter ganks and stuff for the top side.
Now you got me thinking of TSM in like a dietary chart, like good foods at the top, like Bjergsen, Hanser, everything.
Yeah, Bjergsen and Hanser, you gotta need like 8 servings of those guys.
Then we can feed the supports. On the way, we can see TSM approaching the stage once again as they get themselves set up here in a Champion Select, and we get back into the final game. It seems a little bit that the second game of Champion Select kind of hindered Flyquest as well. We said TSM's first game picks and bans were something that could have hit them, and it seems like Flyquest fell into the same thing there. Picking out the Zed didn't really seem to come to fruition for him, so we'll see a third game, as well as being on the red side, may give Flyquest a little more room to play with there, as they like to flex their picks and bans.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of red side and the new pick and bans as far as the Premier Champions that have shaken out recently. Obviously, this is why we are prepping. Both teams still getting back on stage here. Definitely important between game break to re-strategize. Game number 3 here.
There it is.
To decide it all.
Solo entry player of the game.
We introed the mid laners last time. Top laners this time around. Monster.
That's right.
Definitely a big part of the team who stepped up tremendously.
Gotta get that solo experience. You know what it's like to come out.
Yeah, I'll come out when I'm ready.
We do know, though, of Hanser all the way back to Toronto last year saying, I want to be the best. Continues to show on tanks that he can perform, continues to show on damage that he can play and perform and carry a game if need be when pressure is put on that lane. We have a game 3. Every lane has a chance to be pressured here, and we'll see which one comes out on top to take the victory in this series. Both teams very close. I'd say TSM is at the top of the list, but Flyquest close to that playoff spot.
Very true. As far as we jumping into Champion Select here, side note, I was very impressed with Moon's Gragas, actually. A lot of good looks from him. Some nice playmaking. He had very good combos. Like I said, you know, the combos now after the reworks there's less leeway there, and he did not give any gap in space between his body slam flashes connecting right into his ultimate. You know, he didn't give you that frame to try and flash out. He also did a pretty good job of flanking at various moments. So definitely props to him, coming back first with the Rengar, then with the Gragas. As far as jungle ban so far, it's a little bit lighter. Rengar not finding himself in the ban phase quite yet. Lulu's still available. And Lulu dropped down to a secondary priority last game. Flyquest going for the first pick elsewhere here. Again, TSM sticking with that Caitlyn ban, though. Don't want to let Altec have the super high range advantage down there. There she is.
Biofrost using it to great effect last time. Actually had a very nice help picks onto Moon's Gragas, follow-up onto Altec kill. So quick fingers on his Lulu to keep the players alive.
Yeah, and I'm really curious as to what Flyquest's plan was here, because they've banned out Karma, which is my go-to answer for a Lulu lane. So maybe we do, as far as being pushed back to game 3, might get something a little bit more interesting from Lemonation. See what he decides to go into that lane with. They banned out the Ashe instead of following that one up. Moon, again, gets his hands on Rengar, though, which has been very good for the team.
pick in here. Flyquest taking their time. The Nami actually gets picked up quite early, interestingly enough.
Yeah, so Nami plus Ezreal can be a very potent combination. The sustain is also very nice, but generally I would see like Lulu's take Ignite into a Nami lane and you still have like a lot of kill pressure. And there you go, TSM actually taking away that expected partner. So I do like this answer here from TSM with the double lock-in. Put Hanser right back on that split push and set Turtle up here on the Ezreal to combat Flyquest bottom lane. More of the same.
Yeah, 3 games in a row now for Flyquest. Balls on Rumble. He's starting to get back into the swing of things on a favorite champion of his. He's actually putting up some pretty good play.
Definitely true, and some very close fights for him. The analyst test went over. Multiple instances where you just barely can't kill Hanser.
Yeah, those are so unfortunate because then you're like, I have enough damage. Next time I'll play it right. And then again, a sliver of health puts you down, and then Hanser's 5-0 and going crazy. Elise, Gragas, Talon, and what have you, TSM. What is the last man coming in here?
Yeah, Svenskeren getting whittled down pretty heavily here in the second round of the phase, and that's what happens when you don't answer all of the roles previously picked. More bans aimed at high from TSM side, but this time around, they're not really doubling up on mid lane bans, and he should remain flexible with the last pick. That's one of the big advantages of red side. You get the guaranteed last pick for a possible counter there. I would definitely expect Flyquest to lock in an 80 carry, not these 80 carries.
I feel like he doesn't have Lulu. He's definitely not going to pick Vayne if he didn't pick Kagwa last time.
Comes out to the Syndra.
Yeah, nicely done. Hopefully zero somebody out that didn't get the wild growth, so you're going to be mostly picking up a kill if he does well in the fight. Bjergsen's loving the black.
Yeah, you can definitely tell what these teams have been practicing previously in scrims.
This is true.
Same exact priority.
Going back to everything here. Svenskeren making some plays. I mean, the Gragas is still alive and well. No, he's not. I'm a liar. He's going to be going to the Lee Sin. Shame.
All right. Oh, there we go. Some variation here. Yeah. Because the Elise and Gragas are banned out, we get to see Svenskeren back on the Lee Sin. He has had some super highlights on this champion at various points in his career, as well as the Vladimir eventually coming through.
I like this. Without that Lulu, without quite a bit of protection, they let Altec say, what do you want to play against here? Because you got some things that may be in your face. It's going to be a Varus. It's going to be the back line for him, but also now those auto attacks. So we'll see how Flyquest plays this composition. Syndra was something that was banned out last game. We'll see how that affects this one coming back in. Pretty good effect first game.
And this is why I was such a big fan of that early second round lock-in of the Ezreal for TSM. You steal it away from the Nami lane. You kind of put Altec into a position where he's on one of the less mobile AD carries. Perfect for Vladimir diving later on in the game. Life gets very hard for, honestly, both Syndra and Vladimir, Syndra and Varus, if the Vladimir gets off to a halfway decent start.
TSM with Fox, P1, and TL to end out the split. P1 is there at 3rd place right now. They can have this win go their way. They climb up the standings a little bit nicer, and then they can get their wins. We'll have to see what happens with this one. Flyquest looking at CLG, Immortals, and Envy after this. So both teams have their work cut out for them. You don't need that pen.
Yeah, Flyquest looking to put a stop to their slide in the standings and secure themselves a more comfortable playoff position.
TSM win with the hashtag. You know how to do it. Hashtag FlyWin as we get into our 3rd game. Yell at your monitor. Chant as well. We can hear you. And we are getting into game. Everybody is super ready for this one. We will see if TSM will repeat history or if Flyquest can shut down the 3rd game win in a series for TSM once and for all.
Yeah, definitely been happy about this matchup so far. Let's take a look here, as it looks like we may have one of those patented Raptor defenses being set up.
Well, if it's patented, then they can't do it. They'll have to change it up.
Who's got the patent? Not Flyquest.
No rights to that one just yet.
Turtle gets in with the first deep ward of the game. If they didn't know that Moon was on this side looking for a Raptor start already, well, they will feel pretty sure about it. So early information advantage here over to TSM. The aggressive wards. None from Flyquest.
It's one thing I always take notice of as well is how many players in a game get a champion all 3 times, right? Bjergsen is probably feeling quite comfortable coming to this game now, having played that Vladimir over and over. Same with Hanser, same with Balls on the Rumble.
All right, good. I'm glad everyone is comfortable. Are you comfortable, Riv?
Yeah.
Because this is our second cast of the same week, too.
2 more games. Maybe I'll be comfortable. Let's get a 5-game series here.
I have that effect on people sometimes.
That vote definitely making TSM fans feel good right now.
I thought they were cheering for that Thunderlords proc. That was sick.
I could have missed that. I could have missed that one. You're right. Throwing glitter around, being aggressive, lighting things up. It looks like Turtle's going to stand on the front line here and make sure those Mystic shots are tagging.
Perfect CS for Turtle so far. 6 for 6.
Look at that.
Altec still hasn't dropped one.
Gotta watch out how close they get to the turret. How do you know he hasn't dropped one? We're not in the lane anymore.
Well, the camera's not on it. But at the time that I said it, he had not dropped any melees, and none of the ranged ones had died. So I was correct.
Oh!
Since then, he's been forced under his turret, and good zoning here from Turtle and Biofrost. Make him drop some.
You get a little bit of life. Quite early, actually, going in. 3 minutes is when you expect to see the jungler. So Biofrost uses this time to 30. He's probably still farming. I get a ward deep, and TSM can play a bit more aggressive.
Yep, both of the lanes that are pushed up, that is Balls on the top side, Biofrost on the bottom side, go to get those wards on the junglers. And Moon actually did that red quadrant clear that we're seeing, where you go back right afterwards, and he's coming down the lane. See if he heads up to the top side, because Fenskaren might beat him there. Ball's getting baited in here.
Oh, down to 200 HP. Baited in is the word for that one. And first blood going over to Svenskaren on the Lee Sin.
Let's see what Moon is up to here. Sven did not take a lot of damage in that skirmish, but Moon has red buff. He'd have to finish this kill pretty quick.
He has to wait. Just waiting. Silent.
Oh,
goes out, flash over the wall. Looks like he's going to try and take the
They're collapsing right now.
The ward's still there. Grabs it. Camille first, but he is also pinched by Balls on the top side. Balls teleported in to have a fresh HP bar here. And it looks like they're not going to be able to get much out of a lane or out of that pressure. So, flash from Svenskaren, blue buff to Moon.
Payment.
Yeah.
Take down the top laner.
Never mind. Ha-ha! Ignite fight bot lane. Autos from the 80s. Biofrost faces it out. It's going to be Lemon Nation. Polymorph down. The auto attacks coming in. Oh, he's just pouring cups of water over Biofrost. You can't kill him.
Oh, shit. Biofrost able to survive, and TSM with the slick double on the Flyquest bottom lane here. All in. They get to shove the lane into the turret. Things very quickly going TSM's favor here in game number 3.
Let's see how this happens.
Starts out with a Thunderlord's proc. Wild Turtle was also able to land that Mystic shot, and man, just able to take him out there.
I love that point in the fight when it just hits off the knife's edge and everybody flashes just to get the ability in when you might not have had to flash, but whatever. It goes with the abilities at the time. A lot of aggression to start things off. 3-0, almost a kill a minute here to start things off for Team Solo Min in game 3.
All right, see if Balls can fight his way back from this one. Definitely not unrecoverable yet. He still has set up pretty well. That mana crystal not going to do a whole lot for the combat effectiveness, but they're going all in on high.
Wham, bam, thank you, man. Crimson Rush in, there's the hit. Sonic Wave missed, but it's not going to matter. That was a zoning Sonic Wave. And they come up with a kill on high. Double Summoner Burn as well on both mid laners.
Ooh, tempo here for TSM. The bottom lane kills open up Biofrost to roam mid along with a jungle gank from Svenskeren. And they are just keeping the pace of this game at 10. Well, it's at 4 right now.
True. They can still turn it up, though. The possibilities are endless.
All right, well, Moon heading to the bottom side. No camps are available, so either going for Scuttle Crab or looking to lay some vision down. As the Flyquest bottom lane are shoving into lane.
Yep.
I want to set up some sort of counter here. Getting a little bit of advance warning.
Pop himself over the wall.
Feel more confident doing that when the enemy bottom lane is pushed under there with a bunch of minions. Here comes Svenskeren though. Down through his own jungle. Expecting his Krugs to be there. Moon being chased out. Ultimate burn.
There's a roam from high, though. Just make sure there's no chase coming into Moon. And he's going to be perfectly fine to go ahead and scuttle. They still have vision on him, though, so TSM very privy to what's happening here on the side of Fly. Doesn't look like Svenskeren's going to work anything off that. Clears his Krugs. He will back. He could spend it for himself, so he can come back with a Coalfields and his trackers.
Yeah, a defensive first ultimate from Rengar does make things more complicated for Moon trying to accelerate this one. He could still go for a gank through lane and wrap into these brush on the top lane side, because Rumble's one of those guys that will quickly push up the lane but then retreat back. And Rengar can be a very viable counter ganker or just lane ganker from that side brush, because top laners would generally be in range for those jumps. Might want to get red buff first. We shall see.
Be a good time to hit Haunter. Teleport is down. Scryer's Bloom in the bot side as more deep wards come in from Biofrost, making sure they have eyes on Moon whenever they can find him. Also having those wards on the bot side tell you where he is, or is not, I should say. So you can kind of defer where that's happening and play safe in a certain lane. Once again, push up under the turret. Lemonation just providing sustained support here as Altec tries to keep up with CS, and not doing too bad of a job here as he was forced down to Varus' game.
Yep. Moon just continuing to farm and waiting for his ultimate to come back up before going for a play. High does now have level 6, but he would want some more mana to work with if they were to try and create there. So he's going back for a recall first.
Yep. Also very close to Ignites coming up. Right, he probably doesn't want to meet Bjergsen at this point with that, unless he is also full on mana, like you said.
So much deep warding here from TSM all over this bottom side. So that means they should be able to tell Haunter that Moon, since he's not on bottom side, all these question mark pings, he's probably on the top side. And even though he is kind of going for a top side gank here, you know, his ultimate is available again. TSM are very well aware.
Yep.
Haunter's playing back, letting him push. Sven's getting the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, they have to assume that he's up there now with a move. Ball's just made, being safe, trying to get more vision out. You can see how safe Haunter is playing. He sniffs it out. He's going to go ahead and say, maybe you wait. Actually, he sees a big push by Balls on the wave and says, I have to stay for this. That's made. What they want.
How antsy do you get, though? One of the biggest problems that I see from a lot of people is once you commit so much, you know, you waste a lot of time up on the top side. You have pink ward down there. Sometimes we'll see people force dives and get them turned around. Well, right now, though,
they just caught Bjergsen in mid, so. Would you go, Kobe?
I would not go.
Well, that's what makes us different.
Ah, and he's gone.
So no chance from that one. Just waiting, but Haunter still keeping everything safe. It may look safe, and he knows not to go too far from the turret. Instantly finds Rumble when he does. Probably pretty happy with himself at this point for that move. Things slowed down here. Remember, that was just about 5 minutes when we saw the first 3 kills coming in, and then we had 1 over the next 5 now. So
with that ward's dying breath. Moon. Luckily for Moon, though, he as well is alerted.
Turtle still being quite aggressive. The Sheen is there, but they're stacking the call. And Altec coming out with the BF sword isn't really able to trade back here with the amount of poke that's coming out of Biofrost, Glitter Lance, and the Mystic shots. Now, like you said, Kobe, with that lane pressure, they keep having the opportunity to get inside Flyquest jungle.
Yeah.
See how much trouble they can cause.
Jungle is a hot spot for Rumble Ultimates. Top laners could join.
Chain of Corruption coming into very nice Bola. Looks like Biofrost makes it out alive. Wild Growth did just come up. He's going to use it on himself. Moon gets kicked back by the Dragon's Rage as High is now in the ultimatum. He will scatter. It doesn't look like he's going to make it out of this one alive. He does drop Haunter, though, for his work. And now it's Balls trying to turn this one out. Expects to flash out, bait more members in. Lemonation's the one to try and reinitiate this fight. And Moon will follow behind him quite quickly.
Pretty good stuff, but in the end, TSM has control of the minion waves after. Even though the kills are traded over, a small advantage there for the pushes. Blue buff was actually never taken after being the instigator of all this. See if High actually finally will get his hands on that. Pretty big that High doesn't have summoners anymore, though, for Syndra. Syndra's definitely a vulnerable target there. And he's going to have to be careful because there's also no vision for him to play safe with. Taking a look at how it all started out there. Moon gets up to the full stacks on Rengar before going for his jump Bola, setting up Altax ult into the Lemonation ult. The rotation from High is what's interesting because Haunter's able to go right over that wall. Yeah. And even though he comes back, the thing is, you need to be able to get out your damage as you're going down, and that sets it up for trade kill.
You go down, fighting. Everything you got, throw it on the table.
Yeah, big difference in this game and last game is the kills not going over to Haunter when he gets his teleports. And Balls does have a pretty decent CS lead as well. Just building a bunch of early armor here with the Seekers and the Ninja Tabby.
Definitely up Altax stay alive. TSM getting that Lulu pick again. Meaning if Haunter did go off, him and Bjergsen would be right back on that back line to take it down. Flyquest still looking for an opening here. Game really not in too much of anybody's favor just yet. The kills could make it work though. 2 of those are on Biofrost.
Balls has to be a little bit careful because even though he's got a lot of armor, Camille does a decent amount of true damage. The second activation of her Q converting her Sheen into true damage as well. And then her ultimate. Junglers attracted to the top side. It's funny how these control wards, each of them claiming one brush. Will he be able to outrun this Rengar ult?
Really great equalizer.
Oh!
Well, he's going to get to the brush, right? And that's going to make it hurt even more because that gives Moon the distance.
Meanwhile,
He's able
mid
to
lane,
type out the flash, though. Make sure they know that's down. High. So a little too quiet here in mid lane if all that action's going on the top side. Pulls back as TSM moves accordingly to drop mid turret. Tidal wave goes out. Bjergsen gets separated from the team here. Now forces against 3 as Emo Plague and pulls himself out to safety. Really just playing the taunting game so they can have control of mid lane.
Oh, that's a taunter. When the enemy is between your turrets diving 1v3 and feeling confident, probably doing more damage to champions than those 3 did to him.
That's true, right? You get 300 across all of them.
Pretty annoying. In the end, TSM do get the turret for themselves. I might have to get a look at the replay. I wasn't paying attention who got the first turret. I know the Flyquest were rushing that top one there to try and get the bonus gold. TSM also adding the Cloud Drake to their list of riches, though.
It was Flyquest getting that first turret gold for themselves.
Thank you.
Helping to keep it just a little bit closer. And now a Cloud Drake. TSM. Infernal next. Flyquest continues to pick up resources in the jungle. A lot of forward ward still here for TSM. They have so much knowledge of what's going on the other side of the map.
Yeah. Currently, this important ward by Haunter is letting him know that Flyquest are invading his territory, so he'll back off and play safe. Just let them steal away this blue. Should be a blue trade, as TSM have a lot of control on the opposite side. That means that Altac has to do the same as Haunter and back off accordingly. Biggest story emerging here, 15 minutes into the game. Bjergsen is going to be the one with a lot of power. His Proto Belt is completed. Spiking here with level 11 for Vladimir. He's really transitioning into the phase where he can get the 1-3s on the back line. Sven gets locked up.
Oh, no safeguard over to Bjergsen. He was waiting within range. But
Can't help him there.
Piled on nicely. There's a chain of corruption. And also Moon's ultimate, so we'll have to see. Dragon's down for now, so this is a great time for Fly to actually be able to use those ults and get something else.
A bit of vision going their way after the kill.
Good push by Balls in that top lane. Like you said before, keeping Hanser much more tempered this game. We'll see this bot lane once again. All these wards,
bubble.
TSM a false sense of security. They had a lot of vision. It doesn't mean it is safe though.
Yeah, good bubble there from Lemonation to start that all up. Landing his skill shot first, allowing everyone else to chain afterwards. A little bit of gold definitely does help Flyquest, but they have to be pretty worried about transitioning into setting up these team fights.
Now, what would those look like? Because you miss an equalizer ult, you miss a chain of corruption, you're almost left out to dry.
Yeah,
right.
A lot of the same stories as last time. The cautionary tale we were telling for it is difficult, although you know, can have a very big impact here with all of these skill shot ults from Flyquest. Sometimes they can flop. So far, they've been having pretty good luck. But Bjergsen all in, boop boop.
Bada bing, bada boom. That's how that works.
That was the cautionary tale we were setting up before. It doesn't have to be a team fight.
Yeah.
You can just walk right up to you in lane. And
again, very light crowd control that Bjergsen is going against. No exhaust once again. So he's going to be able to do that damage whenever he can flash in, pool out, have the team follow up. High waits another 10 seconds before coming back. This is where TSM can make so many moves, find you in a cross rotation, or just make sure their waves are in place. You mentioned it before, that's a big difference for something like TSM. Because when they do make these plays, then make more.
Bjergsen actually gets the last hit there. They hand it over to him. Honestly, it's a good decision, just fueling this juggernaut.
Yeah.
Vladimir.
Quite big.
Yep, definitely going to be a problem. Already is a problem. Balls has also problems of his own.
That was pretty sweet. Catching him in the ultimatum mid-air. Now on to Moon, who makes sure he uses W to get out of this one, and he will be able to do so. Alt as well. Hanser very, very low safeguard onto him. Potion of Corruption to help him, but he still goes down to the Ignite. Double kill coming in for High here as they do get something back for the troubles in top lane.
2 for 3 in TSM's advantage. Yeah. They do have minions on the turret as well, so they should be able to turn this into an objective and continue the snowballing ahead. Flyquest have to be a bit careful about provoking them in this. 2v4.
Teleport behind him. The far brush is going to be the play. Chain of Corruption's on the Turtle. He should go down immediately. Actually still gets the stun up from Tidal Wave going through him. Bjergsen now the hit. Piercing arrow as he tries to go back for all tech for a hit. With that Q, that transfusion and some damage. It actually goes over to Lemonation. Double kill coming in for Bjergsen. They're going to look for another one as they shut down Flyquest in their own engage.
TSM able to get the last laugh there. I was just going to say, though, the control ward that Flyquest have in this far up brush on the top side has been there an incredibly long time. That was how Balls got in position at first to create that play. But TSM are able to react in time. Get the extra kills as well as the turret going down in the end.
Just one of those fights you think is coming to an end, but somehow continues to keep going. That was one of those fights, 13-6. Flyquest looking to get something back, and TSM are somehow continue to turn these plays right back against them.
And a lot of those saves up in the top lane, the safeguard power, a lot of these extra points from Lee Sin, people have been dumping into W for a long time. After maxing Q, rather than going for the E for the marginal extra damage there. And the bigger shields really do pay off.
Like we have Baron coming up onto the map quite soon. Infernal Drake is going to be that next priority though, and Flyquest is set up nicely on the bot side. They will get pinched if they wait too long. Starting the fight now, Bjergsen looks in to get for that Emo Plague. Ultimate is almost up for him. He's trying to stay alive, and it is going to be Moon going down first. Svenskeren in onto Balls now. They are going to try to fire back onto him. Focus can happen, but it looks like nobody can get enough follow-through damage to take him down. Svenskeren's going to try to do it right now. One swift punch. He takes down Balls. They're able to finally get all tech. They were waiting for the abilities to come back up. You see how much perseverance they have to keep going, and they feel comfortable doing so in these long fights.
Yeah, the issues with starting out versus the Vladimir and the lack of CC that you keep on bringing up, it's difficult because of these double invulnerabilities there, and that means TSM get the Baron afterwards.
20 minutes. Woo! It just spawned. 45 seconds after it is brought to life, it is sent back to the void. And how do you even deal with Baroned up minions at 20 minutes when you're already behind? That's a little tough.
I mean, all right, let's take another look at this replay. Bjergsen held on to his pool, waiting for the bola from Moon. Moon was heading into that brush to try and get a jump back to him, but Hanser was still there. And that was literally the TSM solo laners 2v5ing for the first 5 seconds of the team fight before the rest of the team showed up, and they were winning that 2v5, technically, until they ran out of their invulnerabilities in TSM. 6-0-5 on Bjergsen on the mid lane of Vladimir. Again, 10 stacks on his ring. Still have yet to see him turn into a Medjai to really throw that one in their face, but not going to need it. Hanser now is a little bit under attack.
Ooh.
Feeling pretty good about his chances, though.
The last kick splits Moon in two, and it looks like he's going to chop Balls up. There it is, a double kill coming in. And Hanser actually didn't even have that good of an early game, but still, with the little bit he was given throughout roaming around the map with the team, continues to provide results on that Camille. Now
we know who wins between Blade Legs and Flame Cannon Arms. Oh, Bjergsen's going in.
He knew the Tides of Blood would take down high. Now on to Elimination. One last. Oh, Crimson Rush definitely would have done it, but he can't get into the queue.
I love how everyone got super quiet after that. They're like, Lemon, you may live another day.
And as we head into this replay, welcoming NALCS 2 to a pretty crazy game here, starting off with Svenskeren onto Altec.
Yeah, even though doesn't kick him backwards, doesn't matter. Nobody else around. Sven got that kill. They get the inhibitor, and TSM have made another series comeback here, it looks like. Baron up inside of the base.
A lot of this game was can Flyquest now, or a lot of the series here as it goes to 3, is can Flyquest stop that 9-0 Game 3 victory that TSM is able to pull through always. Here's a chance to do that after losing their inhibitor. They need to stop the bleeding just a little bit, and now they may be able to find some room to get these minions away from their base. That 20-minute Baron by TSM, however, has put a big dent in the Flyquest base.
Flyquest still fighting and grab some kills back for themselves, but the deficit they're facing is enormous. Just look at the structures available. TSM have lost only 1 turret, already killed 2 inhibitors. Let's take a look here, though. Balls had a good Rumble ultimate. Altec got a nice little chain there. They're landing all the skill shots. The bubbles from Lemon are landing. Moon's in the back line, taking down most of the members, and only Svenskeren does get out in the end. However, it might be too little too late as they're facing a huge, huge disadvantage here. Now it's into farm mode, though. Flyquest going to try and keep the minions off of the Nexus turrets.
Almost going to be impossible. It'll definitely be hard once Baron minions start coming in. They're going to have to send Altec to that lane at least to try and get these clears out, because Balls is going to have one hell of a time trying to clear Baroned up minions. Top lane, or I should say bottom lane, a little assistance there from high as Balls tries to get the wave cleared, and Flyquest once again, just like last game, TSM forcing them into these power and numbers between just a few lanes. TSM's going to be able to start spreading Flyquest there.
I think they've dodged most of the skill shots into that bush. I think all of them. Surprise attack? Question mark? All right, finally get him out of there. All right, again, Flyquest are faced with this situation where they've got to make one of the more desperate plays because they're super far behind and time's not working in their favor. So they're looking for a good opportunity to try and just go all in and force a quick team fight that they can try and get over with one way or another before minions take their toll. TSM very patient, just waiting for the minions to come assist.
Yep.
Cornering Flyquest under their last remaining inhibitor turret.
This is that hectic time as well for Flyquest. They know exactly what TSM is doing, but there's almost nothing you can do about it. You have to get the perfect engage. You almost want to be the ones to be able to use your ults second. There's a redemption to go out. Wild growth on Bjergsen so he can get in the middle of the fight. That actually means he may be able to go down if there's focus, but the damage onto Lemon Nation, just about half his health bar as Bjergsen comes through with a Crimson Rush. 3v1 now behind the Nexus towards the fountain. Can't even find solace there as High goes down. And TSM is onto the last Nexus turret as they hit up the Nexus. 26 minutes in, TSM continue their Game 3 streak wins to bring that to 10-0, stay first in the NALCS, and TSM take down Flyquest.
How can they keep getting away with it, Riv? First game, full Flyquest. Second game, pretty decently close for a while. Third game, all TSM.
Another day at the office, Kobe. It seems as TSM...
It's comical how they power up over these series.
TSM moving himself to 13-2 now, as we said, with Fox P1 and TL to come. So looking like more wins on the horizon if they can continue their play, especially if they go 3 games apparently. But Flyquest as well, showing strong against one of the top teams. The question is, but we need to see that goes the full series as well for other teams, because TSM is able to take that control way too much.
Yeah, Flyquest showed a lot of good things. And I think Flyquest showed enough positive things to be pretty comfortable about being able to get a playoff spot at least. You know, maybe not being able to take down TSM here, but still.
But in a 5-game series.
Quite a few positives. Yeah, meanwhile, TSM, they've got a pretty good stranglehold on that first place spot now, considering C9 just lost earlier today.
That's a great point. Definitely seeing a few of the teams probably not be hit too much by the meta, but just as the season goes on, figured out a little bit more by other teams, dropping a few games that they shouldn't be, and this is when it matters. I love being able to say that towards the end of the season. But it was crazy to see how fast a game like this happens after just a 40-minute game. Flyquest kind of had their own 20-minute scuffle, then a 40, and then TSM went 20 minutes. So it's almost like you can't even really look at these games and be like, oh yeah, that's how we beat TSM.
I can look at these games and be like, I've seen a lot of Vladimir already, and
that is true.
Painful when you see, you know, the burst damage that he has and the invulnerabilities that he has to rely upon. Definitely going to be something teams are working around on the current patch, and we'll see how they do deal with it.
I feel like
in the coming weeks.
That in itself is kind of a big meta change from what we had in terms of abilities and committing to fights, because now you have wild growth to possibly change your mind or make you not do enough damage. Now you have Pool, more Zanya's coming in, all these things that usually you'd go in and get a kill on the guy after he's crowd controlled. But new things, played at a high level, definitely throws these players off sometimes. Sure, they've seen it before, but when you get the intense game, that second definitely takes a point.
Another strong recovery from TSM in the series, bouncing right back from that blasting in game number 1 and finishing off very strong here. Honors for this game are probably going to go to Bjergsen, by the way, spoiler.
It could definitely be that. Definitely seeing Svenskeren push down to a little bit more, so bringing out the Lee Sin. Good things from TSM. I'm sure the fans are happy. We've got Freak waiting side stage for an interview with the victorious top laner.
Thank you very much. I am here with Hanser. Hanser, congratulations on yet another win. I just want you to know off the bat, if you win one more match, you are guaranteed a first-round bye in the playoffs. Does that mean anything to you?
I guess it's okay. It's nice. Nice to have.
Fair enough. Well, it's interesting because it feels like there's a lot of parity in the league right now. Everyone's beating everyone. You guys almost dropped to Immortals. C9 lost earlier today. There's a lot of back and forth matches. I'm kind of curious, like your thoughts coming forward into playoffs. Right now, you're the #1 seed. Are there any teams you're afraid of?
Not really. The top teams are all like still pretty good, like P1, C9. Yeah. Right now, it's like really hard to tell who's the best because, you know, people are taking games off each other and the meta has been shifting quite drastically. So by playoff time, it's just a toss-up on who's going to be the best. But obviously, we're going to practice really hard and try best.
Absolutely. So speaking of being the best, I want to ask about you as a player, because last time we talked to you, I think you talked about wanting to be the best top laner in North America, and you're here in a league with like Someday and Impact and Looper, like a bunch of world champions and former world champions, and you're clearly making a name for yourself as, you know, part of that upper echelon. So the real point of question to you is, what will it take to prove that you are definitively the #1 top laner in NA?
Yeah, I'm not really sure because I've been playing pretty well, but people still think like others are better than me, like Someday or Impact. But I think I'm the best, and I just have to keep playing more consistently, and just keep playing well while the others are underperforming.
Absolutely, and you've been playing very well, Hanser. Thank you for the interview. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you tomorrow as well. Toss it down to the analysts.
Thank you very much, Freak, Hanser, and the rest of the squad. Happy to pick up yet another three-game victory here, so moving to 10-0 in those third games. And we can get into this in a bit. It does speak to, as Jat was mentioning, throughout the past couple of days, the parity in the league and the possibility of any one team taking down another, regardless of where they are in the standings.
I mean, that Immortals beat C9 today. Envy took TSM to 3 games. So I think just any team on any given day has a chance of upsetting.
But TSM will always win in the end.
Well, as long as it's not a 2-0, it's not 2-0.
Yeah, there was one thing that remains true, and that's TSM winning, I guess.
13-2 right now across 15 games, 15 series?
That is correct. So they moved to 13-2. Nice 2-game separation between them and C9 moving into, playoffs as of right now. We'll see how that adjusts over the next 3 games left to play in the split. Let's talk about this series, though, real quick, break it down. Bjergsen going big on the Vladimir in the mid lane. Of course, we did see Flyquest make some adjustments, right? Some things we asked for. We're cool with that Rumble Camille matchup in the top lane, and we saw Balls doing a much better, job of it this time around. But that mid lane is where I want to focus because we don't have the Zed pick, so I'm a little bit more prepared to ask you guys what you thought about how it worked out.
I thought that matchup was pretty even, but maybe gets more Vlad favor as the game progresses because Syndro tends to fall off. However, it just felt like Bjergsen just plays that champion very, very well. I'm looking at quality Vlad play, and Bjerg's Vlad this game was probably the best I've seen this split.
Let's take a look at some team fights to look at exactly what you're talking about. 18-30 in the top lane. This is Flyquest, attempting to stab back into the game.
And this starts so well with okay, well, we get a pick on Altec, and Bjergsen looks like he's dead. He gets ignited, he's in the middle of 3 people, finds a perfect E into the W, gets 2 lifesteal components off his ulti as well as his Q, his power Q, and then he just cleans up this fight.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that situation, you think there's going to be a 2-0, and out of nowhere, it's a 3-1 for TSM. It was a pretty crazy turn to see there.
Right, I know you put it kind of crudely. Bjergsen just does things good.
Yeah, it's not crude. It's not a very intelligent way of putting it.
Does things good while other people do things bad.
Yeah, other people mess up, and then Bjerg does it right.
Take Piglet's Vladimir performance, put it next to Bjergsen's in a split screen.
Good, one's
very
not so
different from each other. Let's take a look at another play. 21 into the game. TSM 4-0 into a Baron here off of more big plays by Bjergsen.
I mean, once again, you think that he's getting caught out. This is actually just an overextension. Vladimir at this point in the game, he was already 6-0, is extremely hard to kill. He turns around easily. He's got his Zanya still as well, able to dodge the ult there coming in from high. So this is what we mean when we say Bjerg does things right. He never seems to use his cooldowns unnecessarily there. As soon as the Syndra ult comes in, he's Zanyazing, buying enough time for his teammates to collapse, and he gets the big ult heal afterwards.
Every defensive spell use there actually negated something from the other team or bought crucial seconds in the team fight where his teammates could then enclose the opposing squad.
Yeah, you even see right there, he gets his Empower Q off right before he's on to make sure he maximizes the damage and healing that he gets. It's just very, very clean play. And that's something that I honestly miss a lot when I see certain champions. I'm just like, well, he didn't execute that, or his job this team fight was to do this, and instead he did this. But Bjergsen always seems to do the right thing.
And again, I think that this is where TSM gets benefit sometimes the most, and particularly from the mid lane, but the others as well, is that they have mastery across so many different champions and veteran status across so many different players now that when the meta changes, we see Bjergsen quick to adjust and still playing at an optimal level. Whereas we've seen other people, again, Piglet as an example, not to necessarily pick on him, but hey, he's picking up the new champion, the relevant champion in Vladimir, but doesn't quite have the mastery of it to back up in the play, and therefore you don't see it become successful.
Right, and I think that extends to a couple of their other positions as well, like the interview with Hanser. He's been playing Camille probably the most in the league. We talked about how we thought that, TSM, get him a tank, they play better with tanks, but they actually play great with Camille. They picked it really early on all the time as well, so they're comfortable taking this matchup that generally Camille loses. They give it a little bit of attention almost every game. This time again, Svenskar makes his way up there, help for the first blood. And then, still, Camille loses her turret early on because Balls was still winning that matchup, but it didn't matter because TSM's able to play around those kind of weaker early game champions.
And as soon as I say you can take advantage of TSM's bot lane, what do? Of course, they double kill the opposing bot lane. And I'm just like, well, I guess this is why TSM always wins game 3s, because they just play better as the series progresses.
Yep, it's something about it, right? And sometimes it's hard to put a pin in exactly what it is, but for whatever reason, they are playing better in Game 3. He's player of the game going to Bjergsen this time around. We've already talked about him quite a bit, but an element in which we haven't talked about him quite yet is, MVP vote, right? We're looking at a lot of player of the games and how that's going to affect MVPs coming into the latter half of the split. This guy is no stranger to receiving the award. Do we think he has what it takes to make a case to be the top player in the North American LCS?
I mean, he's got a case. I feel like he always has a case as long as he's not like horribly slumping or TSM's failing like the, like spring split last year a little bit where it's hard to give it to him. But I mean, this year I think he also has better competition as well. I think Arrow made a really, really strong case in the second half of the season. He was making a good case in the beginning, but especially now that P1's kind of turning up and potentially even pushing into that number 2 position with Cloud9 starting to lose a couple games here.
I think if you ask anyone who is the #1 player I would build a team around in the entire North American LCS, Bjergsen's always the person you think of.
Still
first.
the answer.
Exactly. Yeah. But in terms of MVP for this season, I don't even think he's the #1 candidate on his team. I think Hanser has the edge in the MVP vote.
I was about to say
like as well as like Arrow, I think has the lead as well. I don't think Bjergsen's played super well this entire season, and he's had games where he's looked off here and there. Sure, today's series he played great, but he had a lot of series where he's just like, he plays talent, he just goes bot, kills himself.
I like it, man. I'm excited by the idea that the MVP voting will be that close, right? That it won't just be, or hopefully won't just be a landslide victory to one player or another. And again, it speaks to kind of, the changing landscape of the NALCS, that we don't have a team that went 17-1 or 18-0 in the split, right? It's so much closer, and we do have that option at any point for a team to make a surge.
I mean, the idea that the MVP candidate is actually on his team is also pretty crazy too, because the old joke was always, Bjergsen 4 awards. It's not the case at all anymore.
No, definitely not. Well, with our matches in the books, let's go ahead and take a look at how the league has shifted. TSM further solidifies themselves as the first place team with their win today. Phoenix1 are in third, just one win away from Cloud9 in second, as Flyquest drops to sixth. Teams below them in the standings look to overtake, with Dignitas already claiming fifth. We'll see what teams can do to continue their climb in the rankings with our games tomorrow. Our coverage kicks off with TSM versus Echo Fox on NALCS1, with Counterlogic Gaming taking on Flyquest later in the day. Now, over on NALCS2, Phoenix1 and Immortals will brawl it out in the Battle Theater. Then Ninja and Team Envy hope to best Jensen and Cloud9. So again, I mean, we come into the end of the split, there's lots of big matches, and obviously all of them have some element of relevance, but the biggest one that you guys are looking towards tomorrow when we come into these last couple games?
I was gonna say P1 Immortals, just because I'm actually really excited to see how they match up. I don't think it's necessarily the biggest in terms of relevance in playoffs
or impact,
because P1's pretty heavily solidified somewhere in the playoffs. Immortals still fighting for their spot, but I am interested in that just because I think the quality of play will be really good based off what we've seen out of Immortals.
You took the one I wanted to watch. I always want to watch Immortals games because right now, like in terms of entertainment value, Darlock is the man to watch. Yeah. If you want to see some guy just like go off, and that's like the dream. Like you want to see someone just take over the game and do it in a style that's very aggressive, very flashy. And if you want to see that, you watch Immortals because right now Darlock is just taking over games. Even in the series losses, at least one of the games he's just going off.
Now, not necessarily going to be popular opinion here, or even the game that I'm looking forward to the most, but I'll tell you a game that I will put a magnifying glass on is Cloud9 versus Envy, because Cloud9 has lost 2 in a row here, losing to CLG and then losing today. I want to see them come in and smash 2-0 over Envy to kind of make their case again for why they should be a top 2, deserve a bye in the playoffs team.
I mean, you'd want to see that. The scary thing is, though, is that Envy does have a strong early game. Lyra's a good aggressive jungler, and I think you might see another case where maybe Envy steals a game from C9 just off getting a lead that they can't come back from. And I mean, you want to see this the quick 2-0, but that's not how Envy goes. They are winning the game, and then they lose a big team fight.
Right. Anything can happen.
I think to back up your statement that it's weird because, yeah, sure, they have bad early games, but recently I feel like the biggest problem before was, Contract's not playing too well. Now I think Contracts is playing pretty well. As the season progressed, he's kind of filled into the void of, a good jungler. And it's weirdly enough, Jensen, which is one of their MVP candidates, is actually the one that's underperforming the most.
In the last 2 weeks, I agree, absolutely. I mean, yeah, up to week 6, week 7, we were talking about his Echo being, and still is, I mean, anytime he's played that champion, it's been stellar, but Orianna performances recently haven't been phenomenal, and so definitely still miscuing every once in a while from Jensen, but it is tough because I feel like the expectations for him as a player individually are so high.
I think it might be the kind of thing where the community and us spectators are looking at C9 in a different light than they're looking at their own team, where they are probably in some kind of phase where they're more focused on improvement than they are getting the wins right now. I think they're pretty comfortable with their standing in the league, and I don't mean to say that they're not trying to win their games, but I think they're more comfortable doing different things. Like you see Impact on Renekton, Game 1, those kinds of things I think that they're more comfortable doing now.
And I think if you talk to any of the players right now or the coaching staff, jungle and mid lane is kind of like a homogenous role. Like it becomes one role. And if you win either of the two, or like if you're underperforming in one of the two, then you lose both positions. And so right now before it was Contracts didn't do too well. Now it's Jensen not doing too well. So whatever happens, like still, because one factor of the two role piece gets as playing a little bit poorly, it's hard for them to come together. And I think right now it is super important that both your jungle and your mid lane are rock solid.
Well, playoff picture is still undecided, and that's what makes the league interesting here in regular season play. That's going to do it for today. Join us back here tomorrow for some more games. Now for myself, the Caster's entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.
Game 1 is ready to begin as Cloud9 takes on Immortals. Q's gonna land the flash follow, and the first blood's gonna come through. Oh, just barely.
No flash, no flash, no flash, no flash.
Oh, it didn't stun.
Nice.
He starts up right up there.
Here comes the Ringer. He's empowered. He's got the kill. Here comes the damage up, and he does. 5 solo kills for Contract. Look at that. Contract finds kill number 8, kill number 12 right here.
This is insane what Contracts is doing to this game.
Kill number 15 for Contract. Almost single-handedly wins the game.
Oh, I killed Jin, I killed Jin. Okay, we go. Nice.
Immortals with the upset win over Cloud9 continue to look for that playoff spot.
5, 4, 3, 2.
End the game.
Seraph finally gonna fall, but he's gonna pop one. Gets kicked back in, but Keen with a huge full-man ulti. Gonna turn the rest of the fight around. England's gonna be locked down next. Ryu's looking to make the moves. Double lift gonna be charmed. The damage comes through.
I'm on Caitlyn. You're okay. Focus, Thresh.
Get to that.
Okay, go ahead. GB. Okay, watch GB.
I'm JP.
Go through bottom, okay? I'll just lift it. I'll TP.
TP bot. Nice, guys.
Sven scared. Flashes critically.
Over the wall, the flash is going to be balls picking up the first blood.
Go.
End game. Go in.
Oh, he's actually gonna go finish it.
He's so hesitated to go in for the kill, and he's probably going to lose his life for it.
Miss. I'm killing him. Nice, end the game.
Fusion and some damage. It actually goes over to Lemonation. Double kill coming in for Bjergsen. They're going to look for another one as they shut down Flyquest. TSM continue their Game 3 streak wins to bring that to 10-0. Stay first in the NALCS, and TSM take down Flyquest.